Welcome to Living the Empowered Life podcast, where we discuss all things empowering, encouraging and inspiring. My name is Yvonne Ellis. I'm an empowerment speaker, author, coach, trainer and founder of Yumi Empowerment, a company that facilitates the empowerment of people. I help people to make positive life change, live in their purpose and develop into their best version of self. I share stories, interviews, spiritual encouragement and actionable tips to empower, encourage and inspire you to live the life you want. So if you want to live the empowered life, join me each week on my podcast so we can take the journey together. Hello Empowered Lifers, welcome to episode 84 of Living the Empowered Life podcast. My name is Yvonne and I'm your host. If it's your first time to this podcast listening in, I welcome you. I hope that you find this episode something of value to you. Please be sure to check out my other episodes on whatever platform that you're listening to this podcast on, whether that is Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts. And to my continued listeners and supporters, thank you as always, guys, for listening in. I appreciate your support in listening to these episodes. Please be sure, everyone, to share these episodes with friends, family, neighbours, acquaintances, anybody that you know who you feel might need a dose of living their empowered life. So guys, today's episode is going to be just a short and sweet one today, just a word of encouragement, because recently this week I have been thinking about things to do with my future. For example, obviously, I have shared about me finishing my master's degree a few weeks ago now, a month ago now, and kind of the space that I've been in over the last probably couple of weeks, because it's almost like a void is there, because I've been doing this thing for 2 years and now, I'm just back to working, and it's been kind of a weird space to be in, because I've been thinking to myself, right, what do I do next? Now I do have a plan of what I'm going to do going forward. As I mentioned in many other episodes, way back, that I do plan to use my newfound knowledge to continue to build upon the things that I am doing with my business and non-profit. But also as well, this week I got a chance to do something that people may consider to be a step back. But actually, when I think about it and have, considered all the different kind of things to do with this decision, I consider it a step forward. And that is what the word of encouragement today is about. So sometimes in life, many people do take having to take a step back as something very negative. I want to just encourage you, if you're somebody who is having to take a step back in something, not to view it as a negative. I used to have the type of mindset that viewed any type of step back as a negative thing, but since I've been on my personal development journey for the last nearly decade, my experiences in life, reflecting on all the different challenges and different things I've gone through in my life. And also, especially as an entrepreneur, I've come to realize that taking a step back is not a bad thing. It can only really be a bad thing, for example, if you're going back to relationships or situations that were harmful for you. I don't really believe those are a good step back. But I think that a good step back is one that is preparing, helping or assisting you for things in your future. And for example, I can think of an interview I did with a lady called Natasha Rigo, an entrepreneur, friend of mine, who I've known for a number of years, since 2016, and she shared her journey, of her business, of her development educational cards called Chatties. She's been in business for a number of years now. As a matter of fact, as I shared on that podcast, she was somebody who was the first example in a relatable term to me of somebody who stepped out and had the courage to set up their own business. And she talked about, having to do different things to help to keep her business on track. She also shared about the fact that at the beginning of her business journey that, she was new to getting contracts, new to doing things, and she took up, back traditional paid work in the field of the things that she was qualified in to help to look after her business. And she said she's done that 2 or 3 times during her entrepreneur journey. And when I think back to my conversation with her, it was one of the key things that helped me to change my mindset towards how I looked at taking a step back in things in life, because from her example, it was a step back in the sense that she was, going back into traditional employment, but it was for a step forward. It was for her to get the money that she needed to inject capital into her business. So there are things in life when you take a step back, it's actually to propel you to take a step forward. So rather than looking at the perceived negatives about taking a step back, I believe it is crucial to consider the benefits of taking a step back to go forward. It allows you to reevaluate the steps of your goals. So sometimes it's time for a refresh, it's time to kind of take a step back to reevaluate the things that you're aiming for. And I think that taking a step back in whatever it is to go forward can allow you the time and space to do that. It can help you to think, am I on track? What things do I need to do in order to continue on this path? Is there other things that I haven't considered or do need to consider to take me towards my goals? Taking a step back sometimes, it gives you that space to reevaluate. Another thing that taking a step back to go forward allows you to do, it can allow you to get extra knowledge, skills and resources. Sometimes when we get to a certain place on our journey, other things might be needed, things that we didn't consider. And sometimes we may have to take a step back in order to get those tools or those skills or resources to enable us to go forward towards whatever it is that we're doing. So for example, as I shared with women entrepreneurs that I know and I've read about, in taking a step back, it allowed them to get extra knowledge. So, Barbara Corcoran, for example, she decided to take a step back into employment, but it was in the field of the things that she was already doing with her business. So she did that and she was able to learn so much more about the real estate business because she had been given some different flats to sell for a developer who struggled to be able to sell these flats. They were just sitting off the market and were losing money. And they gave her this assignment of selling these flats. And if she sold them all, she would get a huge commission, which she was going to use for her step forward, which is to inject the money into her business. And she sold all those flats. And reading just about that little period in her life, she said that she learned so much about people. She learned about, dealing with difficult real estate situations. So, whatever you're taking a step back in, you can use it as a chance to develop extra knowledge, to acquire new skills and resources. So that is another benefit that I feel is great about taking a step back. And I can definitely see in my own decision of deciding to take a step back to go forward that is something that I can use that time to do as well, to get extra skills, knowledge and maybe experiences. Another side of taking a step back to go forward that people don't think about is that actually it shows that you're adaptable and you're flexible. And with things that bend, with things that are flexible and adaptable, it means that they can move fluidly through any situation. And that can definitely strengthen your future because, when it's time to adjust or do things differently, the fact that you have not had like a rigid mindset that says, right, I'm not doing this because it is a step back. If you have a mindset that says, actually, I'll do this step, which seems like a step back, but actually, when I think about it, I'm going to use it for my advantage, it definitely will put you in a strengthened position in your future. So those are just some little examples I wanted to share with you about the benefits of taking a step back to go forward. But the thing that I really want to say to you, that I want to just, get across, if you are in this situation, I don't want you to be disappointed. Try and leave the disappointed mindset behind and think about how you can use your step back in whatever it is that you are doing to your advantage. Remember that everything happens for a reason and a season. So don't get disheartened. Don't feel bad if you have to take a step back. Don't feel prideful about it. Use it to your advantage. And in the end, in the future, you will see how it will benefit your life. So on that note, Empowered Lifers, I just want to leave you with a quote. It is by S.A. Sometimes. It says, sometimes the best thing you can do is to take a step back and give yourself a chance to breathe. I think that is the perfect note to leave this podcast on today, guys. Look at the benefits, look at the positives of taking a step back. And in doing so, as I said, it will help your future and help you to live an empowered life. So that's it for today, guys. I hope this word of encouragement helps you in the time that you find yourself in. If you're not following me on social media, it's Yemi Empowerment, YEME_empowerment. Over there, I share empowering, inspirational, motivational content. If you're on Instagram, all my details will be in the show notes or description box below. Also check out my books, Into the Unknown and Expected Not Exceptional, if you are looking for books to help you to personally develop. And all my other books and resources will be in the show notes as well. So that is it for this episode, guys. Until the next one, take care.